Okay, and a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats. A very good evening again here at Cornerstone Live. This is becoming a real routine. We are so consistent with our live sessions, and we are so happy to get so many guests and so many people on board, as well as from Cornerstone, us from outside of Cornerstone. But I can tell you something today. We have an extremely special guest with us today. Very privileged and very honored to welcome somebody that we're going to talk about a very great title that we have that is called Finding Greatness in Times of Uncertainty. We're going to talk about, of course, there is a lot of uncertainty right now. There is a lot of things going out in the wrong in the world, and a lot of things going right in the world. And tonight we're going to talk about, okay, what opportunities are there? When certain doors close, which doors do we open again? And moving forward on that, how do we keep focused on the right thing moving forward? We're going to talk about business, but we're also going to talk about life. So our special guest here tonight, we're going to make sure that we wait for a few people coming on board, because we get a lot of people from Cornerstone, of course, and they will be sharing this with all their followers and within all the groups. And as we are growing the numbers here now in our Facebook Live, let me just take this opportunity to introduce our guest, because we're so happy that he is with us today. And Dr. Gerard, just make sure you're fact-checking me on all the things that I'm about to introduce you about, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have a very special guest tonight. He started his career in Malaysia when he came back from Malaysia from Australia with a real estate agency called 𝐷𝐵𝐿𝐷 as CEO, and he was responsible for doubling the number of agents and also the revenue during his time. After that, made a beautiful jump, becoming managing director of one of the biggest Malaysian digital companies called Property Guru, well known by many real estate agents and agencies, mostly responsible for doubling both the online market share and on top of that also the revenue in the 2 years there. Then made a very interesting jump, becoming Chief Marketing Officer at Khazanah subsidiary Medini Iskandar Malaysia, and then later also Chief Marketing Officer at Sunway Property Division. This involved creating strategic marketing initiatives and developing ecosystems with the state. So currently, very interesting, your assignment and role involves the growth and acceleration of a digital entertainment company called Web TV Asia as Group Chief Strategy Officer, and at the same time commercialization for an education group called Ace Adventure, where you are Group Chief Commercial Officer. I mean, an extremely impressive career path that we're talking about. We will ask so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our special guest for tonight, Dr. Gerard 𝐂𝐡. Good evening, Dr. Gerard. How are you?
Hey, Taco, how are you?
Yes, very good.
How's everyone tonight?
I think everybody is doing great. Everybody is doing well. I mean, a lot of people are coming on board right now. Maybe just to get started, how do you feel comfortable me addressing you? Let's start with that.
Gerard's fine.
Gerard is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it smooth, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us here tonight, Gerard. If I'm not counting, if I'm not mistaken, we are now about 22 days in the MCO. How have you experienced that so far?
Well, in the last 22 days, it's been an amazing journey. I mean, most of the time I'm sitting at this seat for the last 22 days. Not sure whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, or Sunday. So you just roll on each day as you go along. And great journey so far. I mean, initially, it's, you try and figure out what's really happening. And then within about a week or so, you realize it's not going to be 2 weeks. And then you start to plan, I hope that we don't get another opportunity like that to experience it. I don't think, our parents or grandparents have actually experienced this whole journey here. But I would say it's a blessing in disguise for the situation, because of the people who are suffering right now. But look at it positively. We are all working on the same playing field. You call anybody in the world right now, you can talk about COVID-19. So the common topic is there, and you can empathize with everybody who's going through it. Most countries are going through the same thing right now. Most countries, most people are sitting in their home offices or in their room doing their work. So everyone's going through the same challenge. I call this the level playing field. You wouldn't get this globally ever again. I don't think in a lifetime. We hope we wouldn't get this ever again.
Yeah.
But busy, sorting out things that you haven't had the time to sort out. So been busy 22 days. Yeah.
Busy 22 days. That's extremely good. Most of our people that are either listening or following or watching, most of them are related to the property industry. That is what we're going to talk about most towards that side. But first of all, I would like to just, because out of interest, I would like to look for the people that don't know. These days you kind of have a double function. We mentioned Web TV Asia and Ace Adventure, right? Could you explain a little bit to the people out there, what is it exactly, what kind of companies are these, and what is it exactly that you do there?
Sure. I guess at Web TV Asia, they were a client of mine initially. Tencent, China invested into us at a China level about 18-20 months ago. So I knew them when I was at Someway Time. So Web TV Asia, essentially, we manage about 2,800 YouTube channels. People like 𝐷𝐸 and quite a few of the key influencers in the region. We help them monetize. We do brand deals for them. My role is to come in to prepare them for IPO in the next 18 months or so. So it's a lot of cleaning work. My CEO, my JD was not created by the CEO. It's created by myself. And so I asked him, what do you want my JD to be? He said, how about you take on half my job? I said, fine. You take on the part I don't like. I said, fine. And he said, for sure, you're going to be the most unpopular person in the whole company. I said, that's great. I wouldn't mind that. So it's a lot of restructuring work. It's getting a lot of things done right, where, unpopular things that needs to be done, I do it. Includes hiring, firing, rearranging, promotion, demotion, things that people don't like to do, but it's really important for the business. So currently my work right now, I came in to look at the restructuring and that, but some of them call me the hacker, as in that you've got a list. They always ask me, Gerard, how's your list today? Who are you going to remove? It wasn't about removing people. It was more about, reassigning people to the right places. But my role essentially now is looking at funding, preparing for IPO, so going through the Series A, Series B. Yeah. That's part of my role there. So Ace Adventure was also a client of mine, the last 3-4 years. And they are going through the same whole journey of growth as well. And they know what I've been doing Web TV. So kind of rearranging the JDs, the whole organizational growth, preparing for the next growth journey. Both companies about 300 people right now. So both of them are growing. We're aiming to be 500, 1,000 people, 2,000 people kind of a growth. So in order to have that happen, you've got to do a lot of restructuring work. So very, very similar work. That's why for me, it's not about the industry. It's just your ex-clients needing your help to do all that reorganization and tough decisions that needs to be made. Quite tough sometimes for founders to do it.
Wonderful! Wow, quite challenging, but also exciting at the same time. Right?
Exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Now, before we move forward, I would just like to again welcome the crowd that has just joined in. We are here with Dr. Gerard Kou, talking about finding greatness, in times of uncertainty. We went through a little introduction, so we're going to be past that. But if you listening right now have a pressing, burning, exciting question for Dr. Gerard, please feel free to put it in the comment box. I will try to ask it. I have a big list of questions here, but if you tell me this is really what I want to know right now, feel free to put it in the comment box and I'll make sure that will be asked right away. Before again going to the real estate, right? You were talking about 22 days, right? And I know that you are a very productive person, right? I mean, if you bring companies to IPOs, you need to have very full days of productivity, keep things moving forward, right? So based on looking at your daily routine, right, pre-MCO and now during MCO, has that changed a lot?
Yeah, it's amazing actually. Pre-MCO is quite disorganized because there's a lot of distractions, right? There's quite a little bit of traveling that I have to do to look for funding around the country, and into Singapore quite a lot, because a lot of money is actually sitting in Singapore. And then with MCO, all of a sudden you can have your perfect routine, right? You don't have any traveling to do, not much distractions from your work colleagues. Just don't turn the video on if you don't feel like talking, right? So it's amazing. So my day typically, my perfect routine would have been before MCO. Would have been getting up 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Essentially start work by 8. Lunch for an hour if I have to. And then finish about 7 o'clock, and then I try to go to bed between about 9 and 10 o'clock at night. That was my ideal before MCO. So MCO allowed me to have that routine for the last 22 days. So far it's it's working out quite well. But it's internal mind struggle, right?
Yeah. It's the routine is always something that needs that shift, that needs time you need to adapt to it, basically, right?
Yeah.
So Gerard, again, most people know you within our line, know you from the real estate industry, right? You were with Ripfield, Property Guru, later on with Sunway, right? Is there any specific interest that you have in the property industry?
I think the property industry, it's I've learned it from probably 6 months into my business, when I was, I started after uni in Australia. I started off as a real estate agent there. I picked real estate as a career. I remember my pay at that time was like 1,200 Aussie dollars. I mean, you might think, oh, times 3, that's a lot of money. But in Australia, 1,200. Car park was already 150 a month. So, you kind of know it's actually not much there at all. A lot of my friends were like lawyers, and that they're all like making 50 to 70,000 starting salaries. So I was making like 1,200.
Cool.
But when I started real estate, within about within later 6 months, and no more than 6 months, I almost got sued by one of my clients because of misunderstanding. Right, someone else bought the property, and I didn't tell them. I didn't have the right time to tell them that it was already sold. So it's kind of like sold an hour ago, and then he calls me and says, I'm going to put the deposit and sign that contract. I say, well, it's sold. So he says, the next moment you're going to hear from me. Not going to hear from me again. Next time you're going to hear from me is my lawyer. So that was definitely within 6 months of my career. So I thought, I'm getting sued, but no loss, because I haven't got much anyway. So you can take legal action on me as much as you want. There's nothing there. So, but since then, I realized that I was fortunate to have people all along the way. My dad was one of the first ones. It's always best when you can turn your worst enemy, or the person who hates you most, turn them around, because they can be your best customer. So that was my kind of that was kind of my turning journey at that time. I decided that I had to kind of reconcile, not because I was scared of being sued, but I had nothing to lose anyway, right? Yeah. So I turned it around. I explained to him. I called him. I messaged him. Built a rapport. So he didn't call me. He didn't reply. That time it was a SMS, right? You have a WhatsApp, so you do your SMS thing. And then about 2 months later, he actually called me back. After that, and he says, Gerard, I want you now to be the only person to look for the property, to look for a property for me. Right. This was back in 2000. And that's where I realized that, that's when I realized more important thing about real estate was not the property. It was the relationship and the bond that was built. Just to cut the long story short, I found out that he was one of the most senior guys in one of the largest real estate groups at that time, called the Elders Group, and they were the ones 6 years later who gave me master franchise for Singapore, Malaysia, and Southeast Asia for free. And after which, that's how I met David from Redfield. And at that time, Redfield was almost going to be changing their name to the Elders brand at that time. Then David got me on board into Malaysia, and that's how I grew from there. So from that relationship, 6 months of my career where someone's going to sue me, and it's always been a journey of all these kinds of people who have brought me to where I am and opened the doors for me. So real estate is not about the property; it's about the relationship and the bond you can build along the way.
Wow. Super cool. I mean, I so much agree with that. And I bet a lot of experienced agents also, but definitely for new agents, they would want to hear that because, that's what it's all about. That relationship that you can build is going to go for a long run and turning people around. I like it, how to turn your worst enemies into your best clients, right?
That's right.
Wonderful. Okay, thanks for sharing that. Let's go to the current day for a little while, right? We went to the past, we go to the current day. Where are we today? We're freaking out. We're in the middle of a pandemic, right? So, people in the media, and the media always does a good job and sometimes also put a little bit of a dramatic tone on it, but they're calling this the worst health and economical crisis since I heard the Second World War, and some people say since like the last 100 years, right? What do you think all about this situation right now?
I think first thing is to understand how you self-preserve, meaning that, this is a time where you're going to make sure that you're alive, right? So we're all fighting for our lives, right? So first thing, you're going to make sure that you're alive. That's number one. You can plan all your business, but you can't figure out whether you're going to be alive or not, then that's kind of pointless, isn't it? So first thing, you got to figure out how to make sure that you're alive. Yeah. So first thing I did was to make sure generally, I'm a non-compliant person. So generally, I don't comply. If you tell me not to do, for sure, I'll do it. So generally, I'm not compliant. But this time round, I realized that compliance does possibly pay off. So the first thing I did was knowing Malaysia's health system. First thing I did was I looked at where I'll end up if I was sick. And who I'll be around with, which is nobody. Whether I'll have mobile phone and WhatsApp or not, possibly not. I'm not sure. I asked myself whether I'll be in an air-conditioned hospital or not if I'm really sick with high fever. Maybe not. How many people will I be sharing the ward with? Probably a lot. So I was convinced enough within, a couple of hours after I did a bit of research that, I don't want to go there because I don't think I can take it. Yeah. So that's number one, self-preservation. Number two then is trying to figure out that unless this is the end of the world, we're going to get out of it sooner or later. So it's going to be 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, kind of doesn't matter, right? Then for personally for myself is visualizing what it will be like after all this is over, what I need to do in 3-5 months time once this is over, or 2 or 3 weeks time, doesn't matter. So what I need to do in 2-3 weeks time, then I look back to what I was doing before this COVID thing happened. Then my goal was, how do I accelerate that? How do I keep myself busy in that period? How do I accelerate my work? Because the only difference between, there's a couple of differences between pre-COVID and now COVID and post-COVID. For people like agents and even for myself, I actually need to see clients. I mean, I need to see funders. People are not going to give you $1-2 million US by over the phone kind of a thing. I mean, we're looking for 30 million US, right? So no one's going to give that money to you over the phone, face-to-face. They're not going to do that. But the most amazing thing is the funders are locked up as well. Yeah. So now we are on even playing field, right? So all of them are locked up. We are locked up. I literally now have more appointments now than before COVID with the investors. I have their time. They are sitting in their comfort zone at home. When I do phone calls with them, I'm sitting and seeing them in their study or in their house with their kids. So you've took down all the corporate barrier. You don't have suits, you don't have ties, you don't have your investment banker. It's real hardcore t-shirts, shorts, kids lying around, distractions, very real. First conversation topic, how are you coping? So through that journey, actually, I built, in the last 2-3 weeks, built amazing friends. Whether they give us any money or not, it's irrelevant. We met one guy today. I had a call. One guy in Singapore, who exited with one of his startups. He exited about 80 million US a couple of years back, and he told me within 5 minutes, he said, "I'm not interested in investing." I said, "Yeah, that's fine. At least we get to chat, how's life and all." So all of a sudden, it turns around. It goes, "You know what? I really want to help you. I'm going to try to figure out a way to help you." I say, "Okay, how are you going to help me?" So I'm not going to look for funding for you, but I'm going to help your business grow. I say, "Okay, why would you want to do that?" I says, "Because I really like the way you guys operate." So our agenda when we go out there is to meet people, is to build bond, is to seek help, right? I mean, we are growing business, seek help. And once you seek help, people find you. People generally want to help people who want to be helped. You don't want to help people who nah, I don't need your help. So of course you're not going to help. So it's been a really good journey personally for me in the last 3 weeks. I mean, thank goodness, nobody's ill in our family or our friends, close friends. Nobody's fallen ill. So I mean, I thank goodness for all that, right? But on the business front, this is a time where multi-millionaires will talk to you at the same level as you, because we're all humans at the end of the day. Same issue we're going through right now. And quite interestingly, you see some of these big shots become very, very vulnerable in the situation because they fear. So that's the time not to prey on their fear, but just to relate to what they're going through. A lot of them, after we have meetings, they became really interested in business because we're a digital business. So our revenue did not fall. It actually increased 16% in the last month. So because of more viewers on YouTube and that, right? So that's works out quite well for us. So we have people from the cinema industry and that calling us as well, because cinemas are suffering. So they said they have to look at some other revenue income. So you actually have people. Actually, we are not smart enough to figure out who the investors are. The investors, when you do the right thing, they'll find you. And you just have to have enough people out there to ask for help. So a lot of the times when you look for funding, we don't go out with a word of arrogance, how big we are, how strong. Most of the people who are helping me personally right now in terms of getting funding are friends of friends. You need 2 or 3 good friends who will then reach out to numerous people out there. Especially in this kind of time, if you're working hard, in this kind of time when you're working hard, who's not going to help you?
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the differentiating factor. So keeping ourselves busy is important, but being very strategic and being very real, and having the intention of not, perhaps from the agent point of view, not selling the thing, but selling that relationship, because everyone's going to get out of it sooner or later. So yeah.
Wonderful. That's some great. So actually, you kind of really first you make an analysis. Okay, what's really going on in this MCO, and then you pick it up, and then you say, okay, let's move forward, right? And then you actually get advantage from it, right? I'm going to quickly take a question from the crowd, from our audience, right? Let's see. This is I don't know if you can see it also, but it's Alexander C. My partner Alex, he says, with your diverse experience, what are your greatest guiding principles in life and business?
I'm not that old, so I can't. I'm not qualified to answer. I'm not qualified to really answer that. But I can just share a few things.
Sure.
I know 𝐆𝐿𝐿 for a couple of years. Maybe some of you in the audience also I do know. 𝐆𝐿𝐿 and a few people will know. I always look for challenges. Tell me what's wrong with your business. Tell me what you can't do. I will come in and do it. I may not know how, but I'll learn to make sure I know how to do it. I always give myself a time frame. If I can't do something within 2 years, I'm going to exit myself as well. Or if I can do something in 2 years and nothing new comes along after that, I'm going to exit myself too. That's something that my mentor used to teach me. If you can't do something in 2 years, you've got to exit, or try and do something in 2 years to make that change and then exit. So when you look at my career path, it's always been about a year, 9 months, 2 years, Probably Guru was 2 years, while Redfield was long. Redfield was like 4.5 years. But the Khazanah Sub-C was about 1 year, 9 months, 2 years. Sunway was just about the same 1 year, 9 months, 1 year, 10 months. Because round about after the first year, I normally get quite bored. I normally ask, what else is there to do? What other problems do you have? So some of them says, would you like to work on sustenance mode? I say, I'm not interested in sustenance. Sustenance, someone else can do it. I'm here to make a difference. So, so the guiding principle, if I can just say plainly, is pick the toughest thing to do and then do it with knowing that there's a big chance you can fail. And my wife always tells me, she knows after every year, a year and a half, she knows I'm praying for the next job already. Give me a problem, clients, what's your problem, right? So she always tells me, can you stop praying for really difficult jobs and like impossible stuff? Because it's really getting really tired. I said, well, you like it, right? I mean, we get to move, we get to do this. She said, yeah, but it's really tiring. So from about 2 jobs ago, Web TV, I didn't pray for Web TV job to come in. They pay me a rosy picture, money, big amounts of money was coming in. So I told my wife, is this good enough? I'm not praying for tough job. It looks like it's going to be really cruisy. I go in and make changes. Yeah, this is the right stuff. The whole family we don't have to travel that much. I used to travel like 3 days a week, 2 days only at home. When I was in Sunway, the Khazanah Sub-C. So she said, that's really good. So when I came in, it's like, the funding didn't come in. So, oops. So all of a sudden, I'm doing the tough stuff again. So after a while, I realized that I was kind of attracting people who knew that tough things were there to do, and I rise up to the challenge. I think that's how we stand out. So, they always say, my mentor used to say, if everyone's walking towards a certain area, don't go there because there's too many people there already. Go somewhere where nobody's there. So that's a guiding principle that I've always worked with. Wonderful. So you can know that in Web TV, I'm about 1 year now. So about 6 more months, I'll be looking for, if IPO is going to happen, in the next year or so, I'll be around because it's new tasks. But if IPO is not going to happen within the next year, most likely my title will change again.
Oh, okay. I think we have to start calling you 9-10 months from now then,
it's so it's I mean, that makes life interesting, especially when you are able. So in the real estate agent's point of view, it's not about job hopping. In the real estate agent's point of view, it's always pushing your limit to try something new. So you may be selling a different product, going a different market, pushing yourself to the next level, moving in digital space. It's just doing something that's impossible. That you think you can fail. That's quite important.
Wonderful. Let's talk about a big problem, right? We have a big health crisis going on in the world right now, right? Extremely big problem. Just a side note: do you believe that Malaysia is doing a good job controlling this crisis?
I'm not sure. Generally, my boss used to tell me, right, you can't trust anybody, even yourself, right? You can't trust anybody, even yourself. If we are tempted enough, we'll do things that we're not supposed to do. So you can't trust anything that you read, whether it's Malaysia or not. You can't trust it. You can't trust what people tell you, what their opinions are, because you don't know what they're subjected to right now. You don't know what stress they have as well. So we got to kind of understand why people are going through the challenges they're going through. So we just control what we can control, right? So we can control how we spend our day. So, one of my New Year's resolutions this year was, my New Year's resolution became very complicated the last few years. So my New Year's resolution this year was just very simple. Try and get out at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's it. That was just it. So I've been trying to do that as much as possible, which means that, I've got to try and sleep by about 10, 11 o'clock. So that whole routine starts. So we control what we can control, because once we can control our mind, you don't like what you read, stop reading the COVID, right? You will know when COVID's over. The whole world will tell you it's over. So you don't need the world to tell you how bad it is. It's bad. So just do what you need to do. Focus on the people around you. Focus on, sessions like that. Focus on your clients, right? Your clients are probably, how would you know if many people are visiting them or not? Unlikely anybody's visiting them. So do WhatsApp, do messages. More likely than not, they're probably near the mobile phone. Or their computer right now. So reach out to people, not because you want a transaction, just reach out to people because you just want to reach out, work with clients that you want to work with, and if you're brave enough, tackle clients that you fear so much, right? So this is the best time to reach out. Nice. So doesn't really matter whether Malaysia is doing a job. I'm sure everyone's trying their best in the circumstances in there as well.
So good, so good. I really like that. Yeah, it makes me think of my old mentor. He used to tell me, like, if you're going to make a round of calls, call the most difficult client first, move that one away, and then every other call will become easier.
Exactly.
So it makes me think that's really great. Okay, so Malaysia, okay, but moving forward, I don't know if you experienced the same thing. I'm talking to you right now. You seem to do very well during this COVID time. I know a lot of agents and agencies do well, but I also know a lot of people that are not doing well, right? What do you believe? Because we're talking about finding your greatness in times of uncertainty, right? This is a big time of uncertainty. So the question would be, why do you believe that there's a difference in people that find the MCO time very challenging, right? They find it difficult to be inside, sitting at home, some cabin fever. And some people seem to like fly through this MCO time and like reborn themselves, and then boom, they are productive, they are strong, they take breakthrough, they get to breakthrough, they do their first live sessions. What do you think the difference is between those two people?
It's all in the mind, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we've got to be doing something that not only benefits ourselves, it's going to be doing something that impacts the others. So, sometimes, you have the challenge. I mean, I can't remember where I read this, but, it was someone who says, so what if you post something or you say something and there's only one person who hears it? The fact that one person hears it, you've already made a difference in that person's life. So I realized that that's quite important. Sometimes as, when I've got time, I write articles or I message people, even if just one person replies. That's one person where if you didn't reach out, wouldn't have replied. So I think it's more about, I mean, it's quite odd to say this, right? Because financially we're all strained. Although I say that the revenue for web TV and, businesses doesn't seem to be affected so far, I know there's an impact. I mean, we know for real there's an impact. I mean, just lucky that we're in Malaysia for those of us who have loans, and that it's kind of moratorium on that for 6 months. So it's kind of a breather. But, you take this as a blessing, right? Not a time to kind of rejoice and start spending. When you clear what you need to clear, who can you help? You help. Sometimes it's not a couple of thousand, sometimes it's a couple of hundred. To us, maybe a couple of thousand seems like not much, but to someone, a couple of thousand is like, wow, where did that $1,000 come from, right? So it's not so much about money only. Sometimes people just need listening ears. So I think whatever we do in this current time, we need to figure out how do we impact people around us. But the only way we can be a positive impact to others is that we've got substance. If we don't have substance, it's hard to kind of impact the others. So we've kind of reset our minds first to back what it was, not to be tainted by whatever global issues and issues that might be. So one of the best things, my mentors used to tell me is, it's not about watching YouTube and watching shows and Netflix, documentaries, and that it's reading. Right. So, as much as I haven't been reading for many years, all of a sudden I've got time to read. So that reading helps me to think through. And as you read, you share. So, that whole cycle. So I think the difference between the people who sail through and not is you try and add value to people now during MCO. We might only have, 10 days left. We might only have 7 days left. If numbers look very good, we might only have 7 days left or less. We might only have 14 days left. So use these 14 days to the max, because after that, you're going to get busy again. After that, you're going to go back to your routine. After that, it's going to be disruption again. So this is the best time to lock down and either build yourself up or lock down and see what impact you can give to people around us.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wow, that's really powerful. Also, other people seem to find it very powerful looking at the comment box. Yeah, it's so true. We got another question from our audience, and it kind of blends into a question that I also want to ask. Juliana Tay wants to ask, will the education sector be expanding after the MCO? And on top of that, what do you think people should be learning right now of this MCO? What should they be learning during this MCO, do you believe?
If you look at it, now's the best time to research and see which industries are suffering, right? I mean, there's enough articles there. I didn't used to believe this, but a lot of people used to tell me, Gerard, stay in the digital space, Gerard, stay in the healthcare sector, Gerard, stay in the education space. I say, yeah, right, yeah. Boom, this happens, right? So I go, okay, is this guy for real? Okay, digital space, that's real, right? If you stay in the digital space, you see all these YouTubers and those guys, right? They're still making money. They're making more in March than they were in February and January, right? So digital space, it's there. Revenues there, you don't have to worry too much. Then education space, you might see some slight dip in revenue because the digital space, in the education space, you might see some dip in revenue because some parents might not be able to start to pay, so that kind of challenges. But it's not going to dip like 50%. So the one thing that parents want to focus on is make sure that their kids and all that are still able to have the education. So in like the age group, what we do is we still have online classes. I mean, they're starting, I think tomorrow they're starting like full day online class, including PE and all. I was like, wow, it is just too much for me to take even as a parent, right? So I told my son, it's like, take whatever you want. You don't have to take full day because it's just too tiring for myself. But education space is not something we need to even not even something that we need to contend whether it will grow or not. Just look around. It will grow. We are all learning. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here, we are learning. So education sector is definitely here to stay. But online education will definitely boom from here.
Interesting. Very interesting. Again, I would like to jump more to the agency world, right? So the world of real estate agents, agencies, the real estate sector. I know you're doing a lot of diverse industries, but you have such a vast experience in the real estate industry. So many agents, specifically real estate agents, real estate negotiators, live in that time of uncertainty. They have lower transactions. And it's hard for them to look ahead. When is this going to pick up? What would your advice be to an agent, or what would you share with an agent right now?
I think number one for an agent, being leading, close to 1,000 agents a couple of years back. I think 1,000, 10, 100, it doesn't really matter too much. Actually, the more people you have, the bigger responsibility it is. Number one is you got to figure out your own pocket, right? How are you going to survive for the next 6 months? You got to be really real. How are you going to survive? Financially, how are you going to figure it out? So because if you can't figure that out, you can't move forward. You're going to have that perennially at the back of your mind. So number one is list down all the things that you have challenges with. List down, all the things that you have real issues with. Get it out of your head, right? So I mean, Yalong and a lot of people will know this. Like I still have my to-do list, right, for many years back. So this is kind of my to-do list. These are I call it brain dump. So you got so many worries, you just brain dump on the paper. I mean, the paper is there to absorb all your worries, right? Once you get that out of the head, then you reorganize and figure out, okay, so are my concerns real or not? I've got 6 months moratorium. That's the biggest blessing any country, any citizen can have right now. I mean, you look at Australia, no such thing. Singapore, no such thing, right? You have that moratorium. That's income in itself already. I mean, if you have 10,000 worth of loans on cars and that, overnight, you got 10,000 cash, right? Overnight. Right? So you got 60,000 in the next 6 months. So why worry about what revenue you've lost? You just have to figure out how do you double up when you finish this whole game. So I look at this MCO as a game, right? How do you win at this game? So I think number one is through this process as an agent, go back to your core. Imagine when you were an agent, when you first started, you had no listings, no sales, right? Why did you do what you did? If you're a successful agent, it cannot be about money. Money was just a result of your efforts. It cannot be about money. Money would not have got to you where you are and sustainable if it was just about money. More likely than not, it's something else, right? More likely it's to help someone, or you love the thrill of transaction, you love the thrill of winning relationships. Agents are very emotional creatures. I mean, that's what they do very well, especially the top agents. They are able to build bond. I mean, come on, you guys are, probably dealing with 5, 10, 2, 5, 6, $7 million property. Someone who owns a 5 million property or 2 million property, right? It's probably going to be making about 30, 40,000 a month. I mean, to get a trust from someone like that, you've got to be okay in your game, right? These corporate guys have seen all kinds of con men in and out. So give yourself credit. The fact that you guys are in that market, you're already dealing with people who are probably making minimum household income 30 to 300,000 a month, right? So try and understand that you already have those capacities in place. Go back, talk to those guys, right? Just reconnect. I mean, if you have database all lying around, your business cards, and figure out a way. Oh, please don't start getting your business cards in by manual format. Try and figure out. Always be the lazy one. Get a shortcut, right? So find technology that get all business cards in place, all your stuff in place. Get them on WhatsApp. Start connecting people. At this game right now, it's all about people. You just never know. Maybe the other agents out there are just frustrated that, you know what, they're probably thinking, I need to get out of this. This is really not where it's going. The husband or wife, I told you, you shouldn't be an agent. I told you, right? So let them drop off. That's brilliant. This is called a natural selection process, right? They actually drop off by whatever's happening right now. So, you be thankful for what's happening and you try to protect yourself. But this whole game is a relationship game. So I can't give you specific answers as to what you do, but focus back on the people. If you don't get the people's hearts right now, your business is not going to fly. It's not going to fly for at least another year if you don't think about people. There may be some people who will go through challenges, financially, whatever. Think through that. Reach out to their tenants, your landlords, your developers, your marketing heads. I've now been in developer side, right? I tell you, the biggest headache now for, it's your manager level marketing guys. It's not your heads. It's your next level down, because the heads will go like, guys, how come you're not generating leads? Where's the leads coming? It's the next level down. Call those guys. Reach out to those guys. Hey, what campaigns can we do to get out of this? And can I blast my database right now? You're not doing sales, right? Give me some properties that I can probably blast on my database. Nothing happens, fine. But communicate with those guys, right? So yeah, people game.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I really like that. It's quite interesting to see that there's so much going on, but there's still so much opportunity. And we're getting also a few questions from the audience, right? That looking a little bit more macro level, right? The level of, okay, let's look at all the industries, right? The question would be, where do you see the real estate industry? How heavily do you think it will be impacted? And what industry do you think is going to be really heavily negatively impacted for the long run?
I think to say that certain industries will be immune to it in the medium long term is, we're kidding ourselves. I mean, even the digital space, we're not going to be spared, right? Every industry is going to be affected. That's why, when we had a conversation a couple of days ago with yourself, Yalong, right? What opportunity do we have in maybe the time since depression, which we of course we weren't around at that time, right? Where now it's a level playing field. Level playing field, meaning no matter how much money you have, no matter how successful you were, by luck or by hook or by crook, you're now back to base. You're really back down to base. Now the only way to win is your mind. The only way for you to win is how you see it when you come out. The faster you plan it before you come out, and action it even before you come out, you're going to win. Do what you're going to do now. The only difference between doing now and doing after the MCO is that you can't see people and you can't shake their hands, right? And maybe after MCO, you can't even shake your hands for another 6 more months. So only difference is you can't see the person face to face. But look at us. I mean, we are now having a session, right? It's still face to face.
Yeah.
So this is the best we can do. This is the best time. It's a level playing field. It doesn't matter whether you're a billionaire or not, how much you got in your account. we're same situation. We can all catch the virus. We will probably go through the 14 days, and we may survive over that. Very fair. So it's the fairest time in history. And the best thing is, it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter where you're from the UK, doesn't matter whether you're from China, India, poor or rich. Same playing field. Your mind will help you win this game. So
nice.
It's a very fair game.
Love that your mind will help you win this game. I so much agree with that. That is so true. It's like a huge global. Oh, something went terribly wrong. Oh, Gerard, are you
okay? We're okay.
Oh, we're okay. Okay, back again. Okay. As I was saying, this is like a huge global reset button, and we all start at the same level again. And our mind, the stronger our mind is, the faster we will get back to that recovery phase, right?
Exactly. It's like a hard reset on your laptop once, right? Data clean out. Let's start again. So do not go back and go, you know what, I should have, man. I should have. I should. You know what I really could have now. You know what? Fair. Back to zero. So whatever effort you've been doing the last 2 or 3 years, you can reach the same effort as the other person. It's how your mind will put you there. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Some other people that are specifically asking for your I think your real estate experienced mind part is Grace Ho is asking, you know, for the primary market, you know, they flourish with all the attractive packages by developers. As for sub-sale, do you have any input how to help motivated owners to market in a non-conventional way?
I think in reality in the market right now is, if owners can afford to hold, they have to hold, right? But you know, if you want to try and get someone to buy, you know, it's like a property. I think the main thing, you know, Grace, is like, if you have an A-class, A-grade property, right? You have an A-grade property, and it's 5% below valuation. Yeah, I'll wait. If it's 20% valuation, it's getting interesting, right? 40% below valuation, I'll pick it up. There are people who have cash still. There are people who've got money. The people who've got money are waiting, as you know, let's wait for 45% because they can wait. So for, you know, owners who really need to sell, they've got to be realistic. And for owners who can't afford to sell, keep it. Keep it. But now build relationship. You know, you do your calls, you do your WhatsApp. Like I said previously, more likely than not, you're going to be able to reach out to them. In terms of how to, you know, how do you market motivated sellers? You keep your profile there in the market still, because there are people looking. A lot of people are staying online, so stay your presence online. You can't be offline anyway, so stay up there online. So all your typical property portals and that, you know, stay online, stay visible, stay relevant. You see, owners, when they are concerned, so even for myself, I'm concerned, my tenant's going to move on in a couple of months, right? So I'm thinking, oh crap, what rental do I rent it out? And I look at the market, say, oh crap, there's so many on the market. But then I know, hey, you know, there's these agents that are out there. So I'll start to read a lot more about that. You start offering comments about what's probably happening in the market. But I think you always come from an angle of, what value can I add to people? And I add the value in the correct way. People will find you. They know when you are trying to con them. You just offer, you just offer the right advice, build a relationship, but keep your presence out there even more. I remember 2008 was a time when I just came into Malaysia, and when I joined as one of the leaders in Redfield to run the organization. I joined, and 1 month after that, the market kind of dipped really bad. I'm thinking, oh man, what's happening? It's like, I'm not even used to the Malaysian market. Like, it's 500 agents. How am I going to pull them out? So the only way we did it was like, guys, stop reading the papers for 3 months. I think Yalo will remember this, right? Stop reading the media. It's going down anyway. Reading it will make you more depressed, so don't read it. So we focus on activities. We focus on, supporting each other. We focus back on learning. We invested more into the profile. We pushed the branding. And, that's how, at that time, Redfield was able to win quite a lot of awards, because I still remember a year and a half after, about to the 2007, 2008 time, people say, hey, how do you get out of it? And then we were starting to win awards already. Because for us, it's like, what get out of what? We already got out of it, a year ago. So the faster you get out of it, you have to be the first mover.
First mover.
When people tell you it's going to go down, prove them wrong. Because you never know that it's gone up until it's happened anyway.
True. So true. I so agree with that. I got a message yesterday. I stopped reading the news about a week ago. I just don't read it anymore. And somebody texted me, and they were kind of like, "Hey, did you hear this and this?" I said, "No, I didn't hear, but just give me a call when we're allowed to go outside again, man. That's the only message I'm waiting for. The rest of the messages, it doesn't really matter anymore. what is going on, what changes, just call me when we can go outside, and then that's enough for me right now."
And I think the other important thing is stick around people who can give you positivity only. Don't talk to people who are not going to lift you up. So you don't need more naysayers. Just not reply. Just not engage. And pick people you want to listen to. Right? You will start to discover who will really help you in this tough market.
So Xiaolong is also saying in the comment box right now, I agree, be the first mover, be the first one to decide to go into that recovery growth, right? We got all hit, everybody got hit, no exception, but now you can make a difference, be the first mover to get back up again, right?
Correct.
Amazing. I'm enjoying this session so much, Gerard, but unfortunately we cannot keep you here for the whole night, although some people would want to request that, I guess. But I have a few questions left, if you don't mind, just to get through. You said you had a very high leadership position at Ripfield. You have good contact with people from the industry. I know you're very good friends with Xiaolong, right? Let's say you would have an agency right now, right? So not being the agent, but the agency. What would you be focusing on right now?
The agency business was really a people business. Everything is about people, right? Agency people, even when we were running Ripfield, I was leading Ripfield, I always told the leaders, number one, why an agent joins you is because they're looking at ways of making money. You cannot tell them anything else if your pockets are not full. If someone's pocket is not full, whatever I tell them, say, BS. It's real, right? Until you get their basic needs sorted out, you can't talk to them about anything else. So if someone is at a level of their production where they can't even meet 10K a month, help them make 10K a month, right? And if you're already making the 20K a month, you then got to figure out, can the 20K person perhaps help the person who's at 5 to make 10K a month? It is as a leader, it's always making sure, my mentor used to tell me, leave no man behind, right? So 10 men go, 11 come back. And it's interesting. So I asked him, what do you mean 10 men go, 11 come back? You go to war, 10 men go, how can 11 come back, only 10 went? Say, I got to bring your enemy back, right? So you got to convert your naysayers on the other side, convert them. So from a business owner point of view, there are lots of agencies out there where the business owner probably go, crap, how am I going to pay next month's rent? Don't think about grabbing them on board. Think about adding value to them. Generally, if you add value to people, sooner or later, they may not come on board, but they'll tell their friends about it. That's it. That's how we grew the time when Xiaolong, and that's how Xiaolong grows, right? Because good people do the right things, add value to people, and the whole cycle starts. You want to kind of build that culture there. So as a business owner, team leader, number one is go back to your, guys. Even as we run an organization right now, first thing I look at is, guys, MCO, are you guys going to be having financial issues or not? So I can help with $1,000 each person, maybe a month, but I can't really afford more than that if it's everybody asking, right? So you go out and reach. And you know what? Most people don't want to take your money. But they know that you care. Now, of course, we don't do it just hoping that, oh man, I hope that you don't ask me for 1,000. You don't hope, but it's about people. the whole games of it. That's why for me, moving from industry to industry, I've moved every industry, and my industry looks very erratic, right?
Yeah.
It's because I follow the people, and I tell the people, I mean, when Web TV, I said, why do you ask me? You know, I don't have any experience. Entertainment is like, come on, look at me. I don't even look entertainer, right?
Yeah.
So Gerard, fine, you can learn in 3 months. I say, okay. I look at go to education. I no clue. I know. So that's why my career has been erratic, because I've always been looking at how do I help people, how do I help the businesses. Once I figured it out, you know, that's how the game moves.
Yeah, nice. Hey, you know, just now I actually skipped a question, but you know, I'm going to still ask it. You know, it's kind of a personal question, but it comes to it because, you know, as we have this conversation, I see that you have so much experience, you know, jumping from company to company, you know, really going deep into problem solving with these companies, right? So if you don't mind, you know, if you go back during your own life, you know, can you think of a story or a situation, you know, where things really got tough, difficult and very uncertain, but you were able to pull through and basically get back to the top again?
I think if you look at, you know, if I had more time to tell everybody, but if you pick any point of my life, I can tell you I had challenges, right? Because I thrive on challenges, and so thriving on challenge means you do fail. Uni time, you know, I started off medicine. I failed, you know, once, twice, you know, so I failed. And even when I started doing law, I failed one of the subjects, so no big deal. So I failed all along the way. So because I'm always pushing the boundary, right? Oh, okay, how much effort do I need to get 51? So of course, sometimes you miscalculate, right? You get 47. They go, crap. Okay, I got to repeat that subject. So from uni time, I've always been that. So business time has always been that. You know, it's always been, you know, the 1,200 salary when my friends were getting 70, 80,000 at that time. When I came into Singapore, into this region, I literally was broke. When I came to Redfield at the time, I remember I had less than 1,000 in the account at that time. When I came to Redfield. So every stage of my career was kind of lots of challenges where I felt that I could just lose everything. Because I live on that motto, you know, that I'm afraid, you know, when I pass 40, that I wouldn't take risks anymore. So I've always been taking risks.
Nice.
All the while. So at all points of my career, I've not wanted, not that I wanted failure, but I've always been prepared that I'll get a heart attack, you know, one day. But yeah, so at all points. So I think when you're exposed, you know, it's like training. If you go to the gym enough, which I don't go very much, if you train enough in failure, you get up, get up. After a while, it's like you can get up within hours. Right? So we have to tune ourselves to that, so that when failure comes, you can pick up very quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really nice.
So to answer that question, it's all throughout.
All throughout, yeah. Well, same here.
Right.
We pulled through. Very beautiful.
Yeah, we pulled through.
Hey, can you imagine that we already have been talking for like 1 hour?
Sorry.
I mean, this time goes so fast, and I cannot thank you enough. We're so appreciative for your time and sharing all of this. I feel I can be talking with you for the next 4 hours and asking you another 100 questions, but let's not do that, right? I mean, 1 hour is enough. No. I'm sure they will not get bored. I do have one final question, but before I get to that final question, I really, speaking from all the people listening to us right now, all the people at Cornerstone and the whole real estate industry and all the other people in Malaysia, Dr. Gerard, I really want to thank you for being with us today. I really appreciate it. I hope we can do it again sometime in the future, because I feel that you have so much more to share. But I have one final question for you. Let's say, for example, right? Let's say I would sponsor you a billboard here somewhere on the highway. I'll give you a billboard, and you could write any message for all the people in Malaysia right now. What would you put on that billboard?
Yeah, I actually have some ideas what to put on the billboard, but I think, you know, I think the main thing we got to look at now is, if you had to put something up there, you probably would put something along the lines, you know, start planning and start doing now the parts that you can. The only difference between now MCO time and non-MCO time, to me, the only difference is physical interaction.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. So there is no difference between MCO, not MCO time.
Yeah.
The only difference is physical interaction. That's all. You actually are in more an advantage now that you're MCO than not in MCO. You don't have to travel. Time is on your side. You got the family there. You can be really focused.
Yeah.
There's very little distraction.
Yeah.
It's like a sabbatical. I don't think we're going to have it again in the next, possibly in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wonderful. Great. That's going to be a nice billboard for sure.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Yeah.
Very long. Anyway, billboard's not the right path to go, right? But yeah.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Yeah, you're right. But like I said, we're just an example, right?
Yeah.
But it's very good. Good message. Again, thank you so much. This brings us to an end of today's Cornerstone Live. I wish again that we could spend here for hours. I would like to thank the audience for joining with us here today with this very special guest. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Gerard, and we hope to see you soon again.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be MCO for, I think, at least another week. So I'm not going anywhere. The next place you're going to see me, I'm still going to be here.
Okay, great. We will definitely reach out to you. Thank you again so much. Thank you again, everybody, for sharing. Thank you for asking your questions. I'm sorry if I was not able to ask your questions. Have a wonderful evening, everybody, and we will see you next time at the next Cornerstone Live. Have a great evening. Good night. Sleep well. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.